So today I'm going to read to you a letter I wrote about a month ago to a company called Google. And this is just to air my grievances a little bit and give them a little bit of praise. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So the reason why I wrote this letter was because Google does a lot of good things, but they also do a lot of bad things that personally, as a customer, I find it hard to trust Google for just about anything, from shutting things down to tracking my data, or even selling my data for that matter. So this is why I wrote the letter, and now here it goes. Let's get into it. Let's start reading. Dear Google, a lot of people love your products. You seem to have done a very good job with the Pixel series of phones. These are very good devices that will last for some time. However, there is a couple fixes that I would make if I was in your shoes. If you look at other devices like what Samsung offers regularly, you will see that most years they increase their specs, such as the RAM and storage. This allows for longevity and future-proofing. Most of the previous Pixels are roughly 8 gigs of RAM with 128 gigs of storage. Now that's fine for most devices, but every year apps get bigger and photos and videos are of higher quality, taking up more and more storage. Phones often slow down, especially Pixels after 6 months. I know you probably do this to stay profitable, and that's fine, you are running a business after all. So all I'm asking is that you bump up your specs so that our phones can be more future-proofed and we don't have to buy phones every single year. Now, of course, Google does this to maintain a profit line so that this way they could keep their Pixels at a certain price. But the problem with that is that you end up with phones that roughly have the same specs, such as the storage and RAM, as I mentioned in the letter. And the problem with that is that phones eventually slow down and apps get bigger, photos and videos get bigger because of higher quality. So that's why I think Google should consider bumping up their specs. And still speaking of the Pixel phones, I know you use AI in your camera and you get pretty good shots, but I also think you can put in more hardware. Bump up your hardware. Stop over relying on AI to correct any flaws. When I say that, I mean don't use AI to stabilize your videos. I think vloggers would appreciate that. While most vloggers will use professional cameras, some of us who love to vlog can't always afford professional cameras like that. So put in some hardware stabilization that will help us make some really good quality vlogs, especially with the front-facing camera. Now, Google uses AI a lot, and the problem with that is that while AI is not bad to use, the problem is that it overcorrects or doesn't correct at all for that matter. So AI is basically just kind of guessing. While AI can be smart, it can also correct where we don't always want it to correct, if you know what I mean. The next thing I want to talk about is your voice assistants. I loved Google Now. I thought it was a very good assistant that had a lot of features like your boarding passes showing up in your Google Now page. Google Now also allowed you to make reminders and shopping lists in Google Keep. You created a Google Assistant, a much smarter assistant that can do a lot. But you also took away very meaningful and useful features. You took away location-based reminders, boarding passes in the Google app. Most of those features are gone. Google has done this before, most recently buying Fitbit, and the one thing Google did was take away challenges. That kept me on Fitbit, but that's gone. So Google, please stop shutting down features. Now, one thing I will say is that I really loved having the shopping lists in my Google Keep app, because a lot of times I would create my shopping lists in Google Keep, and with location-based reminders, I would have it pop up on my watch when I get to the grocery store. And I could just check off groceries, boom, 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 as I'm buying them and as I'm calculating the price as well. So Google, I just ask that you stop cutting off features. Please stop. Now finally, if you are a Googler, I want you to pay very close attention, okay? pay very close attention, drop all distractions, okay? Finally, shutting down apps. Google Plus, Stadia, Hangouts, Google Duo, Google Play Music, and Google Glass were all apps that had potential if you fleshed them out. That's just a small list of apps that you shut down, and the list goes on and on and on and on. There's a whole website dedicated to that, by the way. I will have that linked up down below. But you didn't flush them out. Some of these apps were awesome, like Google Plus. Others had potential to be very good apps, but weren't fleshed out. They didn't have a point or a purpose, like Google Allo. Stadia was doomed to fail, and a lot of people knew this when Sundar Pichai said, "I'm not a big gamer, but I play FIFA." Not only that, but it used too much internet data just to stream one game. Finally, I ask that you reconsider your decision on Google Podcasts. This was my favorite podcasting app. Now, Google has a terrible habit of making a great service, a great app, and just completely shutting it down after a number of years. Google really needs to stop. This erodes at customer trust. If this keeps going on, you're going to lose a lot of trust that the services will stay up forever for as long as they need to. A lot of businesses rely on stuff like this, like Google Whiteboard, for example. That just recently got shut down. You gotta stop shutting stuff down. Invest in some stuff that you want to stick. And if it doesn't stick, then guess what? You just kind of let it stay there and just update the security on it. Just whatever you do, do not shut down apps. That erodes a customer trust. And also, there's a financial aspect to that because companies then have to pay big bucks in order to move their services elsewhere. So Google, while you have done a lot of good, those are a few things to help you get better as a company. I hope somebody at Google sees this video. And I hope whoever sees this video at Google will take this video to heart. Because as a customer, I know Google does a lot of good things and they make a lot of good services, but they also have a habit of shutting stuff down. So please, Google, if you want customers to continue to come to your services and continue to use your apps, you've got to stop making apps that you're going to eventually shut down. You've got to continue to support them. You've got to continue to get better as a company. That's all I'm asking for as a customer. So please, Google, please just do better in that aspect. So anyway, that's been it for this video. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And also be sure to follow me on all the social platforms that are listed down below. Thank you, have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.